Hello, everyone. Hope you're all well. Our guest is going to be joining us. Welcome. Okay.
There we go. Hi. Can't hear you. Oops.
Oh, my mic was muted. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well. Been busy, but it's good to have you on. And yes, would you like to introduce yourself to my community?
Yeah.
Please?
Hi, I'm Kimberley Spencer. I'm the founder of crownyourself.com and the Communication Queens podcasting agency. And yeah, that's me. So I help visionary leaders build their empire and stand out and create the income and impact that they deserve.
That's wonderful. And how is the world of coaching at the moment currently?
The world of coaching, it's interesting. It's been a very booming industry, and I love being coaching. I love seeing my clients experience massive transformation. I also think that there are some pitfalls with the industry, as with every industry. So it just depends on that we're looking forward and creating solutions.
Can you hear me?
I can see you and hear you.
Okay. So sorry about that, everyone. We had a bit of technical issues, but I think we're back now. So you were saying, Kimberley.
Yeah, so I was saying, I mean, for me, I love what I do. I love being able to create and curate transformation in people's lives. I think as an industry, there are things that we as coaches need to work on because it's been a booming industry over the past couple of years, and I love the fact that it's booming. And I also think that, if you are someone who's looking to work with a coach, then definitely explore what type of coach, what type of person is right for you. Because I do think in the coaching industry, because it's coaching and sometimes influencers kind of get embedded into the coaching industry, that for me, my big like soapbox that I stand on is that I don't want my clients to think that they have to be like me or get the same results that I have or want what I want for my future. It's my job as their coach to help them work toward what they want to receive in the results that they want for their life.
Wow, interesting. And what would you say is would you say that the cases are quite severe within mental health as well within the current climate?
For mental health, I think that, yeah, I mean, mental health issues have been on the rise, and it's something that I take very seriously, especially coming out of the pandemic and the being aware of mental health. And I think having coaches know where does the line stop between coaching and actually someone requiring like therapy and some help from a mental health professional. Because I mean, for me, I'm a trauma informed high performance coach. I have certifications in how to process trauma somatically. Um, but if you want to dive into some deep dive therapy as to why things happened to you in your past, that is not my jam. That is not my place. Coaching is very forward facing.
Mm. And would you say the opportunity for others to become a coach is simple, or would you say that what would the process be in your view personally?
Well, coaching has coaching as an industry has a very low bar for entry. So you could pay $25 online and get a certification. Um, you also could pay $10,000 or $15,000 for some high level certifications. So it with coaching, it just depends on what is your process. And I think learning to the belief in the coaching industry that you are just coaching from your own experience and giving your input and experience from your life experience, and that's all that qualifies you. I think that's relying on your own past history, and it's actually quite egocentric, because versus really cultivating coaching habits, which are strong listening skills, strong leadership skills, and the ability to ask questions that create insight for the client. It's not you giving advice. It's not that's consulting. That's a different modality. And I think having coaches truly be aware of what is the difference, where are the lines between mentorship, coaching, therapy, and consulting are key pieces. I do both coaching and consulting. And mentorship, but they all are different. And specifically with coaching, it's guiding the person to unlock their own answers. It's not you giving them the answers. If you find yourself in a session with someone and they're giving you the answers of what you should be doing and how you should be doing your marketing and how you should be showing up in your business, that's them more consulting you from their perspective, not necessarily coaching you to find your own answers of how you should show up as your highest and best self.
Interesting. And what made you get into coaching, may I ask?
I started out as a Pilates instructor. I had my own Pilates business for 13 years. I did freelance Pilates instruction, and then I had a brick and mortar studio in Burbank. And it was through Pilates that I saw that this common denominator with working with people's bodies, and that it didn't matter whether we're technically fat or technically thin, like by scientific standards. It didn't matter if they ate really healthy or if they didn't. It didn't matter if they exercised 5 times a week or if they exercised like once a month. What mattered was how they thought about their bodies. And that was when I first became very exposed to the awareness of how much our mind dictates our reality. And it was from being in that space of leadership and mentorship and leading from a very authentic place, because I came to Pilates with a 10-year battle with bulimia. Pilates was the first thing that actually made me feel really good in my body. And so I was very transparent, honest, and vulnerable with my story, and shared that with my clients, that I had not really loved exercise up until I'd found this process. But then I found a process that really served. And then I transferred that skill set, because later on, after having an e-commerce company and then starting Crown Yourself, because when I started Crown Yourself, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't intend on being a coach. I didn't know what that really was. What I did know was that I had a skill set, and I did know that I wanted to impact people's lives. I did know I had training from my past experience and from having an e-commerce company and having a brick and mortar business, and seeing the pitfalls and downfalls of what happened in my relationships or how I managed myself as a leader. But I didn't really have a skill set or a process that I'd found. And then fast forward a year and a half into making no money in my business, I realized that I needed a system, and because I got pregnant, and I knew that it was a mindset block for me. And so that was when I found neurolinguistic programming and timeline therapy and hypnosis. And I got certified in all of those modalities. And so then I had a process that I could bring to the table that I knew worked, because it commonly touted is like, you just, make a package, make an offer, and then you sell what you're worth. And I'm like, no, we're not prostitutes. Like, you are priceless. You are priceless. Your process is worth a price, though. It's not you personally. We're not selling ourselves. We are selling a process of transformation. And it was from finding a process that worked for me, that was when I started to transform my business, and that was when I started to transform my clients' lives.
Wow, thank you for sharing. And when you were saying that you had bulimia, if you could explain what is bulimia to my community, that would be really interesting, and of course an important topic, which I think, is it highlighted much, would you say, as well?
Did bulimia highlight a lot?
Well, first and foremost, you can explain bulimia. That would be really helpful. But also, my second question would be, would you say there's enough awareness in regards to bulimia?
Would I say that there's enough awareness in regards to bulimia? I think there's awareness of bulimia. I think people like understanding. I think what's missing is actually a lot of self-awareness, because it's only like bulimia can be bulimia is binging and purging, but there's other steps that kind of lead up to that piece. You may not be binging and purging, but maybe you're purging with laxatives, or maybe you're being highly restrictive, or maybe like me, you have had a lot of rules around like what you could eat and what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat. And for me, looking back in hindsight, my bulimia was 10 years of me repressing and suppressing my emotions and then having them explode. So it was a physical metaphor for how I was feeling inside. So what was lacking was my own self-awareness and my own embodiment of my feelings and my emotions, because it felt scary. They felt too big. They felt so powerful because I never allowed myself to express them. I would repress and suppress and hide them, and shame loves secrets. And so that's what built on to the negative emotion spiral, in essence, of having it, which then created me to create these controlled little boxes, which was my bulimia.
Wow, thank you. And did you have it from a young age, or was it something you was born with as well?
No, bulimia is learned. It's a condition. So it was a product of my conditioning. It was a product. I started restrictive eating and dieting when I was 9, and that sounds really young, but actually that's the average age for girls. Like, I think there was a study recently. I can't cite it specifically and say that it's completely accurate what I'm about to say, but I do know it was in the vein of like 80% of like 8 to 11-year-old girls think they're fat. And I know that a lot of work has been done in the realm of body positivity and embracing body image. And that being said, we're still being fed all of these messages constantly. And when you're a child, like for me, I was a child of an addict. I didn't know how to process emotions. We're taught IQ in schools. We're not taught EQ. And so because I didn't know how to process emotions, I had all these big feelings that I was told were bad.
Yeah, sorry, I'm following.
I had all these big feelings that I was told were bad and that I should repress, suppress, and deny were happening. Well, what you feel inside of you is real. It's real for you. And if you choose to repress, suppress, and deny, which I didn't know back then was a conscious choice, then that you shove it down and you're masking it with shame. So, and shame loves secrets. And then it kind of gets on a shame stack where it stacks up. And so by the time I was 12, that was when I had, after about 2 to 3 years of restrictive eating and trying different diets and doing different weird things with my body to try to get it to look a certain way. By the age of 12, I had an eating disorder.
Wow. And would you say that, is there any charities which you would recommend if there was anyone that was struggling with bulimia, and of course the kind of support in your personal view?
If at least just starting out with any sort of therapy. Like I recovered from bulimia. I'm one of the few who recovered with no psychological or medical intervention. I just kind of followed my intuition to discovery and to like exploring. But I had to have some very, very hard self-awareness and awakening moments where I had to stop blaming my bulimia on my dad and for learning, addictive behaviors from him. And taking those cold, hard looks at yourself in the mirror at all the things that you don't like about yourself. I would say definitely have a therapist with you to guide you through that, and have that support. Always reach out for support. And there are tons of coaches who help with body image as well, and body image support and finding food freedom. I know Victoria Kleinsman is amazing. Crystal Anquin is awesome. She's doing a lot with body love and embodying your sacred vessel. And for me, I didn't know how to love my body. I literally physically didn't feel safe in it. I didn't know how to love it. And that was a process that took about 10 years. And so give yourself some grace if you're experiencing the struggle now. Give yourself some grace, find some mentors, surround yourself with people who are doing it. Reach out to me if you want some resources, and surround yourself with support, with possibility for people who have overcome it and who it literally no longer affects their life.
Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for sharing that important information. What I want to ask is, how do you feel that the world of coaching has changed from when you started to where it is now?
I think there's a lot more influencers who have gotten into coaching, a lot more people looking to start a business and they don't know quite what business they're starting, that go into coaching because it's kind of like the new cool, hip, easy thing that doesn't require, in their perception, it does have a low bar for entry. Anyone can literally get a $25 certification online and become a coach. Now that's been the way that it's been for years, and having an industry with an influx and a rate of doubling as the coaching industry has had, I would say to anyone looking to get into coaching, be a damn good coach. Like, get skill up. Like, get really good at asking questions. Read Rich Litvin's books, or The Coaching Habit, or Conscious Language. Become aware of how your language is dictating reality, because being a coach is not just posting positive affirmations all day on Instagram. It's not. Like, being a coach is helping someone else be forward thinking and visionary. And if you're not operating as that in your own life, then that's not leadership. And then that's incongruent.
Thank you so much for that clarity, and that's really insightful things that I've just learned, and even for the community. So thank you for sharing that. What I was also going to say is, as a female and in coaching as well, my pronouns he, him, but as a female and in the world of coaching, would you say that there was a big percentage of women in coaching, or would you say that developed in progress now, or what would you say the percentage would be in your personal view?
In my opinion, I mean, I can't speak to the percentages. I know that there's a lot more coaches coming and being certified and coming to the market and the industry. I do see a lot of females, but that could just honestly be the algorithm of like my own Facebook algorithm and Instagram algorithm showing me reflections of myself, because that's what the algorithm is meant to do. I can say that when I've gone into certification programs, it's pretty equal between men, women, and those of different gender identities. So being able to, and I'm seeing more young people getting into it, which is really exciting, like, which is really, really exciting. And because my gosh, I wish I knew what I knew when I was 17, 18. That would have saved me like a decade of pain and struggle and challenge. But I think that it's what I can say though is, because I work with 80% entrepreneurs, and 2% of female of businesses that make it to $1 million are female. Like, only 2% of like women typically struggle more with making money, and there's a perception of charging for what you're worth in this industry, which is why I say you're priceless. Like, there's no price on you. We as coaches, we are not prostitutes. Like, you are not prostituting yourself. You are not selling yourself. You are selling a process that provides results. And so ideally, I mean, you can be your greatest case study as providing results of like how you've transformed, how you've, come into your own, how like your own results can be your greatest case study. And when you're stepping into that coaching realm, like it is like the drum that I beat is like, if you're choosing to do it as a business, then you also have to don the hat of CEO. You also have to be aware of your numbers. And I understand that there is a lot of generational plagiarized programming that's passed down from the patriarchy of, the women have only actually been able to make money for the past 200 years. So like pretty, like compared to men. So men aren't really like, I have coached several men and they typically aren't like, I wonder if I should charge this, or like if I actually should charge what I'm worth. And they have not thought that, like, for the most part. They're like, I want to raise my prices. I'm raising my prices today. Like, it's not this whole like quandary that women go through. And I think the biggest piece to take away is that you provide a price for the results that you can provide. So like, I'm very comfortable with my pricing because I know that I've had clients achieve their 1 year, $4 million goals within the span of 3 months. I know I've had clients work with me that have been able to buy their plane, like fulfill their childhood dream, make enough money to buy a plane. Like, that's something that I'm very comfortable saying, like, these are the results that I've been able to provide. And so I'm very comfortable with my pricing. When I first started out there, I wasn't. Like, I was new. But I also looked at, because I had a process that I was selling, I sold the process because the process provided results. The process is where the price is, because that's where the transformation is. So it is the drum that I beat of like, especially for women, if you want to go into that next, growing into a 6-figure business and even a 7-figure business, then you still got to don the hat of a CEO and like look at what's making money, look at what's working, look at what's not, and put on a more data analytical hat and remove your identity from it, like your money identity of what you think you should be making or how you feel about money. Because a lot of, I'm not going to say all men, but I would say a lot more men think very pragmatically about the next steps of, this is what I've offered, this is how many sales calls I've had. Like, it is a business that you're entering into. And so if you're going to be running a business and not a hobby, then treat it like a business and know your numbers.
Well, thank you very much. And also, what would your, I think, best 3 tips be for a person that would want to start in coaching, and of course, like you could say even be a podcaster, and I know that you do a podcast, is that right?
Yeah, so I would say if you wanted to start coaching, then first figure out what your process is. What is the process of transformation that provides results? Literally think through step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. So, and have that proven process. The process could be what provided results for you. The process can be like when I first started coaching, I wasn't doing business and leadership. I was doing body image and wellness, but I had a process of what served me: physical movement, looking at my thinking, examining my thoughts, and I moved my clients through that process, and it provided results where they had transformation around their bodies. The same is true for coaching. So have a proven process. You can get certified in a proven process as well. So you can get certified in something like certified high performance coaching, or other forums that provide a process that then give you something that they then give you the template. So you can sell that as well. But don't just start from like, oh, this was my life experience. Break it down into, so let me guide you through my life experience, because their life, your clients' lives, is not your life. Your dharma, your purpose, your reason for being on this planet is different than who your clients are. So there's that piece. Second is skill up. Like, get very skilled in leadership, in asking conscious questions, in studying coaching, studying great coaches, studying what it means. Like, I love the podcast, Rich Lipton's podcast of One Insight, because Rich Lipton practices coaching with his clients on his podcast. That is his podcast. Listen to how a masterful coach coaches someone who is charging, I'm not sure what he charges privately, but I know that like almost a decade ago, he was charging like $70,000 per client. So listen to someone who is a masterful coach. Learn how to coach, learn about language and how your language is gauging your reality. And then get clients, because you don't have a coaching business unless you have clients. So starting a podcast, posting affirmations on Instagram, posting funny TikTok videos, that's all great. That's just branding and marketing though. And followers, as I repeatedly tell my clients, do not equal dollars in your bank account. So being able to be discerning about the only thing that creates dollars in your bank account is the customer transaction. And the greatest transformation that happens, and this is where a lot of female coaches get very uncomfortable, is in that sales conversation. Because that sales conversation where you're asking for money for your process, for your services from a client, that is actually where the transformation begins. Because free coaching is great, but how often do you really truly value something that is free? Like, I always like to give the metaphor of like, do you remember back in the days when we all went to like live events and there'd be like a free goodie bag, and like it would be on the chair? And did you take that free goodie bag home? And is it like sitting next to your bedside table and you look at it every night and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is like, it's such an honor to have this free goodie bag. No, like you take some things out. You're like, oh, I'm going to re-gift this. I'm going to give this. Oh, look, a coupon. Cool. That goes in the coupon drawer. Like, it's not heavily valued. Free is not valued. And so the transformation that comes from free coaching, it can be beneficial, but typically it's more micro transformation, micro insights, versus the true transformation that comes forward and comes through when a transaction is made, because someone is much more committed because they've committed financially. And so that transaction has to take place. So those are my 3 steps.
Thank you so much for those 3 steps. And also, I think what I always ask my guests is, do you believe in world peace?
Do I believe in world peace? I was a pageant girl. Of course I believe in world peace. I believe it's a conscious choice, and it has to start first from our own inner world. That is where world peace starts. It has to start with our own inner world being at peace between our unconscious mind, our conscious mind, and our higher consciousness. having peace and alignment with that, because from that, it'll ripple into the family. From that, it will ripple into our community, and from there, it will ripple into the world. But it starts here first. It's not going to come in from the outside in. Nothing ever does.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Yes, if there's anything else you would like to share, you feel free. But it's been a pleasure to have you on. And I will put your information on my page. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Everyone who's been listening to myself and Kimberley. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. So we'll keep in touch. And thank you to everyone who's joined the Claudes SEN Law Campaign, Instagram Live and podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Claude. You have been a true treasure, and it's been wonderful chatting with you.
You're welcome. Likewise. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.